Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode here of the Deano Show. Wish I had a reason as to why I hadn't done one of these in 2.5, 3 months. I don't have a reason besides me being my worst enemy, quite frankly. I think I said this in the first couple episodes of starting this show that I could be my greatest hero or my greatest enemy. And for the last couple of months, last couple of weeks have been my total greatest enemy. All I can really do is put a hand up and say, that's on me. Hand up accountability. You know, it's just all up here for me. And if I can learn to control my emotions better and control everything a lot better, then everything will go according to plan. At least somewhat according to plan, and I can at least say what I'm going to do and not, live like a coward and say things but then don't do them in private. You got to be able to say the things you say in public and live up to them in private, and I was not doing that when I was saying it because I obviously just took a 3-month, 2.5-month hiatus from posting an episode on the Deano Show. So we're going to get that back up and running again. We're getting the wheels back on the wagon, and we're back. So we're back. The Deano Show is now back. I'm going to try to put these out every Thursday night. Do not have a set time yet, but I'm going to try to get them out around 8:30, 9 p.m. Thursday night, or maybe 8 o'clock. So stay on the lookout for those, and yeah, man, we're back. It's exciting to be back. I'm already happier that I'm doing this. So much of it was me just, again, getting in my own way, letting my ego kind of take control of me. And I'll get into more like the ego, the self-sabotage, and that type of stuff in a little bit. But all in all, we're back up and running again. First and foremost, job update. So the last time I posted one of these, I had not had a part-time job at that time. But now we do. We are barbacking at Colony Grill, which has been nothing but short of fantastic. Great energy, great pizza, and it's just been a good time working there. I get about 4 to 5 shifts a week. Weekends are obviously way more busy. That Friday, Saturday night shift is a lot of fun. It just gets a little stressful sometimes because I'm the one in charge of literally every single glass in that entire restaurant. Just ripping through dishwasher loads, running pizzas, washing dishes, doing all the dirty work. But, it's really fun. And when I get into that restaurant rush, I don't even have time to think about what's going on in the outside world or like anything, let alone my own thoughts. Like I'm just moving, constantly doing something. So it's kept me busy and it's given me a fun purpose for the part-time. We're obviously in the market for the full-time job. And if you've been to Colony or if you've never been to Colony, some of the best pizza arguably in the country, in the state of Connecticut. Portnoy gave it an 8 too. But yeah, it's phenomenal pizza. My go-to if you have been there. Obviously sausage hot oil. Can't go wrong, sausage hot oil. Hot oil is, yes, it is an oil and it's hot from Stinger peppers. And it's really good. I know when you think of pizza, you don't think of hot oil, but if you ever come to Colony, try the hot oil. It's really fucking good. Definitely recommend it. But I usually do sausage hot oil or even maybe a little bit of sausage cherry pepper. The pepperoni is great. It's all good. It's all good pizzas. They have this new seasonal one, the summer white. It's basically just a margarita without the red sauce and a little garlic parm like butter. Top notch. Tried it for the first time a couple days ago. Big problem. Big problem. I already have a tough time controlling myself to not have a pizza when I work. Because a lot of my shifts, if I open, it's much easier for me not to get a pizza. But it's really when I'm working in the night shifts that those get me hungry. I'll usually have a protein bar and eat before. But then when 11:30 comes around, I'm like, fuck, I'm hungry. I want to get a pizza. So we're trying to not have 5 pizzas a week. I think when I first started, I was having them like every single shift. And I was like, this has to stop. Can't be having 5 pizzas a week. Just has to stop. And they're personal pizzas. I'm not eating like an extra large, extra cheese, 15 slice pizza. No, they're 12 inches in diameter, 6 small slices, bar pizza. Very, very personal style pizza. So that's been amazing. And yes, still looking for the full-time job. That'll come whenever it comes. And what I've learned, from not having a full-time job yet, because, I guess you could say in a perfect world, I should have a full-time job by now. But, we don't exist in a perfect world and shit happens. But I've realized, like, as long as I'm putting my best foot forward and doing all the things I can to set myself up for the full-time job, then I'm doing the best I can, and I can live with myself with that. However, if I wasn't doing anything or wasn't putting in effort or wasn't getting interviews or applying to places or doing any of that, then that's kind of a different story. And because so many kids around my age nowadays, 20, 21, just getting out of college, are so like, worried about being behind in life, whatever that even means. Like, I don't know what, like, you're behind on whose timeline? Someone else's or your own life? Like, yeah, I don't feel behind in life. I'm 22 years old. I don't know. I just try not to really think about all that stuff. Like, I'll get the job when I get the job. If I wasn't working, I was just doing nothing all day, then that's a completely different story. But I have the part-time job, and the full-time job, that'll happen when it happens. I'm not gonna beat myself up over that and start stressing out and trying to control things that are, one, out of my control. And you can't wrestle with time. I can't wrestle with other people's opinions about whether or not I should be hired. I'm gonna do the best thing I can do, and whatever happens, happens. So that's kind of the job update. So we're still moving along in that world. So a couple weeks ago, started to pick up running because, the weather's getting nice out, and I haven't gone for a run in, I don't know, it's been a while. Maybe even like college. I didn't really do many runs in college, a little here and there. Running is fun. It's fun. First mile, I think I was like an 8:45, 9:15, somewhere in that first mile pace. Definitely on the higher side. But what else? I wasn't expecting a 7-minute mile. There's no chance I could. I mean, if I, gun to my head, yeah, I could run a 7-minute mile for sure. But did not have that in the tank right off the rip. And I can totally see why people talk about, the runner's high and what that feeling is. And also running, it's like free. I feel like I'm running to a better version of myself, because you literally are running to a better version of yourself. And it's also just like I'm running through nature, running through the woods, running through the park, running through neighborhoods. Like, it's a very peaceful, zen, got some good music in, and it's just you and your thoughts. Or sometimes I haven't even really been running to music, and I'm just vibing with myself. Like, that's peak. It's great. Definitely still going to the gym and doing yoga and all that. I had actually, my whole family and I went to yoga this past weekend, and we had a we had a studio record with the amount of people that was in the room. 58 people. We were literally right next to each other. By far the hottest yoga class I've ever been in. I don't know exactly what they set the temperature at. I think it's like 102 or 100 or so, around that ballpark. But with the amount of people in there, with 58 people, the body heat and the room heated itself, when I got to like the floor series, I was like, this is the hottest it's ever been. There was a moment I was like, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm done. But we pushed through, and it was great. Yoga is just another great form of working out. Like, working out is my therapy, because if I don't work out, or if I don't move my body in some capacity, I start to just go crazy, more anxious, more worried about whatever. Like, I'm just not settled if I'm not working out. And it has to be something, for me at least, that I get in the morning. If I haven't worked out by 10 a.m. or whenever I wake up, then it's not getting done. It has to be something that when I wake up, I immediately go to the gym, go for a run, go for a walk, do some sort of movement body. I just like it better, because when I start my day with a workout, I already did the hardest task of the day, was getting myself to the gym, and that's complete. And then also, because I already did the hardest task to start my day, it's just a domino effect as to what else can I do that's hard? What else have I been avoiding that I've wanted to do that I'm afraid to do? AKA do the Deano Show. So, and then for me, getting back, kind of the reason why I started this up again was like, I thought to myself, I was like, why haven't you done this? Because my mind has been telling me not to do it, that it's too late, that you haven't done one in a while, and people have forgotten about it. But even if all that is true, I'm not doing this for anyone else but myself. For the little kid in me, for the one part of me that's still the biggest dreamer there is, that dreams of, making a strong impact on the world. Because I truly, truly believe that the world needs someone like me who can shine a positive light and make a big impact on the world. And if I can just stay out of my own way, control my emotions, then I can only dream about what's to come, what's going to happen down the line. But all that can't happen if I am not present in this moment right now and doing exactly what I have to do. Because usually the thing you're avoiding the most is exactly what you need to do. And ironically, the more I avoid doing this, the louder the voices get in my head of, you should be doing this, you could be doing so much more. Deservedly so, because we exist in a world that is constantly changing. And I ask myself, what does the word truth mean? Well, the word truth means can't be changed. And we exist in a world where everything is changing, and especially in your mind. Your mind is always convincing you one way or another, and that your mind is never telling you what's true or what isn't true. But the one thing that stays true to you, that's always true forever and will always be forever, is your spirit. And every single one of us all got a compass from God, from the universe, and I think a life lived to the fullest capacity that can be. And the best way to live your life is to follow your compass, follow your intuition, follow God, follow what he calls you to do. Because when you do that, of course it's scary, of course it's hard to do, of course it's intimidating at first, but at the end of the day, it's your mind that makes it seem a whole lot scarier than it actually is. Like, a lot of the thoughts I was getting as to why I wasn't doing this was, people are going to laugh at me for doing it again. People are going to think I'm weird. Why is he doing this? There's too many podcasts out there. Why you? Like, it's all petty bullshit that I'm like, no, fuck that. I do have a voice. I do have something that I can offer to the world that can be a benefit to the world. So I was going to talk about all that stuff later, which I do have more stuff to talk about, but that was kind of my little rant right there. So hopefully you got something out of that. But to get more into the show, the New York miserable Mets, I mean, not been a good season so far. And we're almost in June now, and usually the June swoon with the Mets is, the June's their worst month typically, but maybe this year we can change it around. Maybe it's been the March and May swoon, and we can have a fantastic June, but it's just bad. The highest payroll in baseball, and you're not even a game above 500. In fact, you're, I think, 7 or 8, maybe even more games below 500. It's like when the Mets have an off day, it's like, oh, great, I don't have to suffer tonight and be disappointed in my loving team. But we've had some exciting players been called up. Benj, Ewing, we just called up another guy. Yeah, it's been a pretty dark time to be a Mets fan, to be honest. Although, with that being said, besides the 5-game losing streak we've been on in May's been pretty good. We've been swarmed with injuries, which is a common theme for a Mets fan. If you are a Mets fan listening to this, you know how injuries go. Our players can't stay healthy. Lindor's out, Robert's out, Polanco's out. Clay Holmes just went down, who, by the way, has been our best pitcher, and he was a closer, and he's now going 7 innings, throwing 7 shutout innings. Our pitching has just been nothing but atrocious, and to see him go down as our best pitcher, I was like, all right, this is it. This is wraps. Although, when the Mets had the OMG grimace season in 23, at this exact point that year, they have the same record. I don't know how many games below it is, but it's the exact same record as the Mets currently, and then back in 2023. So I'm not giving up just yet. There is slight bit of hope, but it's got to start coming up now. And I don't know. This team is completely different than that team, obviously. We got rid of so many of our core players who were on that team or are now on other teams, Nimmo, Alonso, so on and so forth. But we'll see. I'm not giving up just quite yet, so hopefully the Mets can bring home some glory. Funny story, I was actually at the Mets Subway Series versus the Yankees, the day game on Sunday, the rubber match. And I think it was the top of the 8th inning. Mets were really showing no hopes of coming back. We were like, all right, let's get out of here. Let's beat the traffic, get back into the city, so on and so forth. So we leave, and we're on the subway, going back into the city. It was also PGA Championship Sunday. I check my phone. We're all on the train, and all of a sudden in the 9th inning, Tyrone Taylor comes up, first pitch off Bednar, hits a 3-run game-tying home run, and I was like, okay. It was one of those situations where had we have stayed, nothing would have happened. But because we left, the Mets, of course, came back and ended up winning the game in extra innings. But, just one of those situations. I'll say this. I'll leave a regular season game early. But when it comes to, playoff game or a huge, monumental game, deal-breaker game, I'll never leave it early. I'll deal with the traffic if I have to. But playoff games or any of that stuff, I'll never leave early because, got to get your money's worth. How about the New York Knicks? Again, not the biggest Knicks fan, not a huge NBA fan just in general, but if I'm going to pick an NBA team, it's going to be the New York Knicks. I went to a Knicks playoff game versus the Hawks, and it was when Trae Young was on his demon tour, just annihilating the Knicks that year in that playoff series. I think I went to game 2 or something at the Garden. Was definitely one of the most electric sporting events I've been to in a while. I think it's up there for one of my favorite sporting events of all time. just complete chaos outside, inside the arena. And I can't imagine what it is now that they're going to the NBA Finals. I hope they bring it home. New York might go up in flames, but it'd be good for New York to get a championship, because New York sports, one of the biggest markets in all the world, hasn't really done much the last couple of years in terms of championships. Yes, the Yankees have been to the World Series. Mets were into the NLDS, but they hadn't really. No one in New York has won a big championship, so it'd be great for the sport. It'd be great for New York. So, and also 11-game winning streak in the playoffs is out of this world. One thing, regular season 11-game win streak is crazy, but an 11-game win streak in the playoff, and they're like handily beating teams. It's not like they're getting by the nick of their teeth. No, they're like comfortably beating, completely destroy the Sixers, comfortably beat. I mean, they swept the Sixers, swept the Cavs. I've never seen anything like this, and I'm not the biggest NBA fan, so it's pretty shocking to see what's going on in New York right now with the Garden. Although the other side, the Spurs and Thunder, again, haven't really paid much attention besides all the bullshit flop shit that Shea's pulling off, and the flopping is just, it's so bad for the sport, and it's so bad for playoffs, and it's just like, that's like one of the reasons why I don't watch the NBA, is for reasons like Shea, who just every possession are looking for a reason to foul or get on the line or something, and the whole argument is, oh, well, it's a skill, like why don't other players do it? Well, because it's awful to watch. No one wants to watch a player jump in the air, pump fake, and then jump into someone just to get two shots. Like, it's just, that's my own opinion. You can disagree or agree, but like, it's just so not fun to watch when every possession there's a foul, and they're, when there shouldn't be. Realistically, there shouldn't be a foul, but because they're doing something to create the foul, it's a foul. Like, I don't know. It's just not, pretty boring to watch. I'd much rather watch hockey. Playoff hockey is probably the most exciting sport there is. And yeah, I mean, the NBA is just complete dog water. And you also look at all four of the big sports. Look at the MLB and what they've done in terms of attracting more viewership. They've added the pitch clock. They've added when a pitcher comes in, he has to face minimum 3 batters. They added the extra runner on for the 10th inning. The World Baseball Classic. Like, all great things to get more attention to watching the MLB. The NHL. 4 Nations, 3-on-3 overtime. Phenomenal job. The 4 Nations had so much buzz around it when it happened. It didn't happen this year because of the Olympics, but the year before that, it was amazing. And then the NFL, I mean, they're going international with games, which is cool. Pretty cool. They've gone to Brazil a couple times. They're going overseas to London, Germany. I think that's great. NFL's doing a better job than I don't even know what the NBA is doing. Like, they had like an in-season playoff tournament or something. The Knicks actually won that this year. I don't know. They had some international thing. Again, I don't really know much about the NBA, probably because they don't do a good job as to marketing it and why more people should watch it. It's gotten so political in that league. But compared to MLB and NHL, blowing both NFL and the NBA out of the water. Now, for the NBA, what could they do? Because, the USA is kind of the most dominant, athletes NBA-wise. I mean, besides Eastern Europe with, like, Serbia, France is always pretty good. Italy, I don't really know much about European basketball, but I know Serbia, where, like, Jokic is from, and wherever Doncic is from, like, all those places, those are very good basketball. So maybe they do more international stuff. I don't know. I'm not the guy for NBA, but one of my favorite sports, other than golf or hockey or NHL playoffs, to watch, tennis. One of my favorite sports to watch. So entertaining. When they get into a deep rally and it's just back and forth, it's sick. I appreciate tennis so much. We got the Roland Garros going on right now. Jannik Sinner, done. Alcaraz withdrew, wrist injury. How about Novak Djokovic at 39 years old, still winning matches to this day? One of my favorite athletes of all time. His work ethic is second to none. Complete horse of an animal. And by the way, tennis, I think, was ranked one of the world's most healthiest sports. Deservedly so. When you're moving your body that long, moving every muscle in your body for hours in the heat and just grinding away, I can see why it's one of the healthiest sports that you could really ever play. But I'd like to see an American, Americans haven't really done much the last couple of years in tennis because it's been run by three names: Djokovic, Alcaraz, and Sinner. So to see I don't know, I'm pretty sure Taylor Fritz and his girlfriend just broke up, so maybe Taylor Fritz is going to like demon mode or something and getting a little like payback back on the court, take some anger out up there. But I want to see Tommy Paul make a run. It's kind of wide open now that Alcaraz and Sinner are out, but can never cut out Djokovic even at 39 years old. So we'll see about that. But yeah, definitely tune into that. On the clay, it's sweet. I remember I watched the Alcaraz-Sinner match last year in the finals. Craziest tennis match I've ever watched. Alcaraz, I think, had to save serve. No. I forget exactly in the third set how he did it, but he came down 2 sets, and won 3 in a row. So it was phenomenal. Tennis is definitely one of those sports I would definitely recommend to play. I also love racket sports. Every now and then, my buddies and I will play paddle. Paddle's great too. Really fun ass sport. Hitting balls off the wall. And it's fun. You're moving your whole body. You're using every muscle in your body. Definitely a good workout for sure. So that's kind of the sports, the life, more so that job update. But I did tell you what else I was going to get into. And I came up with this term called open tabs. I forget where it came to me. I might have been walking one day, and I was like, why do I get anxious about like random stuff? And I think one of the main root causes, it's so obvious, but I think one of the big reasons why so many people in today's, day and age, me included, will get anxious at many different times is because you have so many open tabs. And what I mean by that is when you every now and then you'll open someone's computer and you'll see they have like, you can't even see what the tab is on their computer. They have so much open. And I immediately thought of like my brain, and that's what my brain looks like, because I want to do so many things that I want to do, that I have to do, that because I have so many things that I have to do, I end up doing zero, and the open tabs just stay there. So if I can get to a point where I'm just constantly closing out tabs and doing the things that I say I'm going to do, anxiety doesn't really have much to feed on. Anxiety feeds on you doing nothing. And once you start taking action, just doing everything that at least you say you're going to do, there's not really things anxiety can latch onto. You don't become confident by telling yourself you become confident. You become confident by doing the things you say you're going to do. Those aren't my words. Those are Alex Hormozi's words, or maybe Chris Williamson's words, but confidence is built by showing up for yourself when you say you're going to do something and not backing out of doing it. And hand up. You saw clear as day. I was living like a coward the last 80 days. I said a bunch of things that I was going to do. Didn't do 0 of them. I'm ashamed of it. Broke my ego. And here we are, back and running again. And so back to like the whole self-sabotage kind of thing. I'll first read the definition of self-sabotaging. Self-sabotaging is when you unconsciously engage in behaviors or thought patterns that undermine your own goals, values, and well-being. Despite consciously wanting to succeed, these actions create roadblocks that will keep you stuck in cycles of frustrations and regret. It's that cycle of leaving open tabs open and not closing out the tabs. No one has to tell me what to do. I already know what to do and how to live a better life. It just comes down to you actually doing it. Life is pretty simple, but it's hard to do. If you want a better body or you want to be in better shape or any of that stuff, you don't need to look up how to get in better shape. You simply go to the gym, you go for runs, you work out, you eat healthier foods. Like, the world has kind of lost its common sense in a way. You see it in the political world, you see it just really all over the world. The amount of, I saw it on YouTube the other day, but there was a video that came up that I was actually curious, because the videos that have the most views are the motivational videos, the watch this when whatever, like all those like videos that, churn your dopamine and get you all fired up, and like you listening to it and like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do this. This is epic, like my new life. And then 2 days later, you're back to watching the video again because your motivation ran out. Now, you could argue that motivation isn't really much of a real thing because, it's just a state of mind. It's a feeling. It's come down to discipline and you sticking to your words. So I, myself, have been self-sabotaging. I know exactly what I need to do. over these last 80 days I'm talking about, I knew exactly what I needed to do. Thursday would come around and I'd be like, oh, I could record an episode today, or I could record on Wednesday. But I consciously, in my mind, had that conscious thought that you should record an episode today. But my mind went to, no, let's do something else for the day. And it would haunt me. It would haunt me for sure. And it's just, me getting in my own way. Like literally my ego keeping me from failure, from judgment, from being looked differently, or doing any of that stuff. And I think it just comes down to me facing my ego and understanding that maybe you aren't going to like my Deano show. Maybe you're going to think I'm cringe. Maybe you're going to think I'm being someone I'm not, or that this will never work, which you're entitled to your own opinion. I, couldn't really care less, but my mind wants me to care about it, which has prevented me from doing anything. And like I said on that, on the word truth, truth is something that can't be changed. Your spirit never changes. Your mind is always changing. So the more I can understand and control my mind, and control my emotions, the world is mine. And it just comes down to a taking. And if you're listening to this too, the world is yours too. If you can learn how to control your emotions, control your ego, control all that stuff, the world is for your taking. It's just a matter of you doing it and sticking to your word. That's all life really is. Common sense. Doing the obvious thing for a long period of time without seeing results. That's how if I want to grow this podcast and reach 1 million views one day, okay, we'll record an episode every week and create YouTube shorts and post on TikTok for years on end. The answer is there. Like everything you want to know or know how to do, you already know how to do. It's just a matter of you doing it. And I'll be the first to admit it. I do this shit all the time. I write down in my journal, or I write down on a piece of paper, these are the next steps I'm going to do, or I'm going to listen to this podcast because this podcast is really going to get me to achieve my goals or start getting my dopamine circuit going in my brain. But no, it all comes down to just you just doing the work. So you take one thing from my video today, I take it that action is the antidote to anxiety, and close your open tabs in your brain. And because at the end of the day, time's going to pass regardless of what happens, and whether or not I do this or not, as we can tell from the last 80 days, it just comes down to me versus me. So, and it's comfortable knowing that. There isn't an external problem that I need to figure out. It's just me versus me, no one else. So upward and onward from here on out. Like I said, we're going to try to get these out weekly. Going to start posting more on Instagram and TikTok. So check out those pages. And pretty much all I got for you guys in this week's episode of the Deano Show. Good to be back. Happy I'm back and doing this. The wheels are back on the wagon. We're getting this going again every Thursday. Keep an eye out for the episodes. And as always, my friends, life always rips. You just have to let it. And I'll see you next week's episode. Peace.